It's happened again. It's happened again. Tottenham Hotspur. It's happened again. We're back for another episode of One Kick from Glory. In case you didn't know, North London is red. And this season, London is red, obviously. But we've got a lot to talk about. The derbies have been interesting. We've seen the Merseyside derby. It's the North London derby. We've seen some contentious decisions in a lot of games this season. And we've got an interesting battle for the title and relegation survival too. And the big question on everyone's lips is, will Poch still be in the dugout come next season? Or will he and Ten Hag have to get a P45? We'll find out soon. I'm joined by Craig
Yeah.
and Matthew.
Yes.
And we're going to start, not with the North London derby, although I really would like to. We're going to start with the Merseyside derby first, because that game happened in midweek. We were commenting on it live as it was happening, myself and Matthew, and it's quite interesting to see the fallout from that game. Obviously, Everton went away 2-0 winners at home. A lot riding on it for them for their season. Liverpool were hoping to keep their title chances alive. But unfortunately, didn't quite get the result they were looking for. Craig, how did you feel about that result and about just how the game was progressing from an Everton perspective?
I think I did say to you a couple of days ago before the game, I said Everton are fighting for their lives and they would love to put one up on their rivals. And they've done exactly that. And the way our Everton did it, they were physical, they out-battled them, they outran them, they out-pressed them, they did everything that our top half team would do, but they're near the bottom of the table. So it goes to show that if Everton had played this all season, I know they've been unlucky because of the point deduction and the financial mess at the club. But if they'd done that all season, this is where the season starts now. For next season, if they can play this next season, there'll be a lot of big teams in the league. They've got a good goalkeeper, England goalkeeper in Jordan Pickford.
That's right.
Braithwaite is a good defender. He might get a big move in the summer if they cut the financial situation. They've got Calvert-Lewin. If he can stay fit, he's a good goal scorer. If he can stay fit. They've got Onana. He could go in the summer. And the centre mid guy who scored the other day.
McNeil.
No, not McNeil. The other one.
Decore.
No, the Senegalese
James.
one.
Oh, Ghana Gay.
Ghana Gay. He's turned into some superstar shooter these last couple of games. He scored a couple of good goals, scored on Saturday as well. So I thought that and they got a good manager in Sean Dyche. You know what Sean Dyche is gonna do? He's not everyone's cup of tea kind of manager, but he knows how to. He's like a Sam Allardyce who'll go into a club, build from the banks, from the defenders to the midfielders to the strikers. You have to work hard in this team. That's why players like Dan Juma has hardly played for him this season because he's not this type of player that will run a brick wall. He wants his players to run a brick wall for them and do a job for the team. That's why you got the Matt Neils of his world. You got the Taika Costis. You've got the Seamus Colemans. These just have a guy that will run for a brick wall for him, and that's why he likes having them type of players in his team. You got the Ashley Youngs as well. That will just relentless, still going at his age as well. A good pro. So he's got the right team and got the right elements. So all he needs to do in the summer, I would say, is just try and if he sells a few players, then just try and rebuild the squad accordingly. Get the right ethos of player in, and take it from there.
That is going to be important, is what they do in the summer. Obviously, it's a great result for them. And like you said, Sean Dyche, he has his players and he has his way of playing. And some may not like it. And I feel like he's at the right club now to kind of build on not just his reputation, but on what he can do in his standing in the game. I think when he was at Burnley, I think a lot of people kind of undermined what he can do and kind of dismissed his style of play, dismissed his management approach. But you're seeing at Everton, all the things that they faced this season, point deduction after point deduction after dodgy decision, and yet they are safe, and they fought their way to be there. The Merseyside derby was a big factor in that, and obviously the game they had at the weekend against Brentford also added to that as well. I guess for you, Matthew, when we were talking about the game live last week and we were watching the results, so it was quite when they had a penalty disallowed and they went 1-0 up. And, at that point, derbies are tough and you just never know how it was going to go. I think we kind of thought maybe Liverpool might turn it around, and they had a hat full of chances to make that happen. But that being said, how impressed have you been with Everton in light of everything they faced this season to get to a point now where they are safe? And I love that in the table it has their points and an X next to it to say they've been deducted X amount of points. And if you add those points back on where they would be in the table, which is constantly mid-table.
I think, it goes to what Craig was saying about how he has a resilience mentality, Sean Dyche does, because he's had to learn that from Burnley for all the time he was there. I think he was sacked one point and he came back. And one thing he shows is that he knows, like, with the players he has and the style he has, it's not popular and sometimes it doesn't always work. With the Premier League ever changing, you're going to find yourself, the way you play may not be to everyone's, it may be easier for other clubs to play against, and you might have to find yourself playing on the defensive for the most time. They don't score a lot of goals, but when they do score, they make it count. And the last 2 games did that against Brentford and Liverpool. They made it count. They score, they defend, they take their chance, and they take their chances when they need to. He has fighters in his team, and it's no surprise that a lot of the players he has are ex-Burnley, man. Because they know how to fight.
That's true.
They know how to fight. They will, like you said, they're the kind of guys that will run at a brick wall. The kind of guys, let's say this, Man City will order lobster. They'll have burger. Put it that way. Because of the burger, you know where you stand, right? It's simple, but it works. The burger is withstanded so many times. And he's withstanded so many times. I think at Burnley at one point, they were fighting for Europe nearly at one point a few seasons ago. So sometimes it can really work if you get the ingredients right. With the, I want to make a bigger shout out to someone like Decore who encapsulates what he wants in his team, because he's not a natural goal scorer, but he's made him into one. He scores important goals. But this guy there's no real finesse or flair or fancy to this guy. He just runs and runs, and it's a powerful run sort of thing. I'm surprised Maguire ain't in this team, because he's a perfect kind of player that mentality of just keep on like going, man. I mean, but for all they've been through, I think, it's not just on the pitch, it's off the pitch. It's building that character of being it's been really against them. They've been fighting for relegation for far too long, and yet they're still surviving. So you kind of hope that next season, should they still be in the Premier League, which I think they will, that they not, they find a way to make sense of it and get slightly higher up the table, maybe like higher mid, just to make it a bit more of a Premier League cert. I mean, they've never been relegated, right?
No, and they're safe from relegation for this year, so they won't go down at all.
So kind of keep them running, make themselves like a Premier League like 30 club. They've got that new stadium coming up as well, so they're gonna want to be there for that. So credit where credit is due. His name goes under the thing because of the style of football that he plays against what everyone else plays. So he deserves credit for in a really, really difficult season.
He does indeed. And I think what also has gone in hand with that as well is how he's managed his squad's fitness and players. We know how important Calvert-Lewin is to Everton. We know he has suffered horrendously with injuries over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. And yet, in the run-in, he's been available and he's been getting the goals. And it's just I like the fact that they've been able to manage his return to fitness and return to the team, and then get him in these crunch moments. And you see him scoring that goal. And I loved his reaction in the post-match about, when they asked how did it feel to score a goal like that. And as a player who's come through the Everton Academy, he would have loved it. And he knows what it means to the fans. He knows what it meant for himself and for his family. And they had that moment. They were able to strike down their noisy neighbours. And, you can whisper it. You can whisper it. Merseyside is blue. I'm going to whisper that one. Liverpool did still win a trophy, so maybe that's a bit outright outlandish. But let's talk about the red half of Liverpool, Merseyside. I remember how I felt when Arsene Wenger announced that he was going to leave Arsenal many moons ago. I was sad. I was happy. It's a bit angry because of how it was all coming together. But I felt at peace with the idea that the club and the players have one last opportunity to send him out on a beautiful high. We all know how that went. Those good-for-nothing, overpaid son of a... You guys know who you are. Let him down. Player after player after player let him down. In fact, when we had the last game of the season at the Emirates, and we had the guard of honor for him, he came back out and the players were there, and he had the Invincibles there as well, and other members of the players he's coached. I didn't want the first 11 to be on the pitch with him. Because I felt personally, he's defended you guys in the press numerous occasions. He has his flaws. He's messed up a lot as well in that kind of, in his latter years of his reign. But when it mattered most, the crunch, the Europa League semi-final, Atletico Madrid, first leg, how many more chances does Lacazette need to score a goal? I'm sorry, he got one goal. He should have had a hat trick comfortably. We should have won. We should have killed that tie, bottled it. And then the away leg, they hadn't lost at home for almost a year and a bit. So we knew it was going to be a tough order to even get a win against them away from home. So we had to do the job at home. We didn't. And then even the league, the chance to get Champions League again, we threw that away. Wasn't that's when we had the whole Basuma laughing meme? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Emery.
That was Emery. Anyway, we threw that away regardless of getting back in Champions League. So I wasn't happy with them. I look at Liverpool now, and I wonder, and I know why Klopp, he explained why he made the decision to leave and why he thought it was the right time to announce it. But I do wonder if it would have been better if they had waited until the end of the season to make that announcement publicly. Still be negotiating for a new manager, still do all that stuff in the background, but publicly not say anything. What do you think, Craig?
I said that yesterday on another podcast. I said that Liverpool made a big mistake, or Klopp made a big mistake, announcing that it was leaving at the end of the season. Because I feel certain players in that Liverpool team are down tools. I can name one.
Name him.
Mo Salah.
Oh,
He's down tools. He's down tools. From the level of goals he scores every season, his numbers are not bad, but he was getting up to Haaland numbers every season. And I think ever since the cup final, when he got into the cup final, he's not been the same player. It cost them the Europa League. They could have won that. They lost. I think that where I think Liverpool's form changed is when they lost against Man United in the FA Cup. Because they were doing well up to then.
They were doing all right.
They were doing all right, innit? Then when they lost in the FA Cup when Ahmed Diallo scored the winner. After that, then they came to Old Trafford again in the league. They drew 1-1. They started losing. They dropped a lot of points. I think they dropped about. If they won all their games from that game, the Man United game, they'll be clear at the top right now.
They'll be firmly there.
They'll be clear. They'll be in a couple of weeks. They'll be named champions if you want to say that. They dropped points. They dropped points against Crystal Palace,
Big time.
at home. And normally their home record is amazing. They dropped points against West Ham on the weekend. They always beat West Ham at London Stadium. They dropped points against Everton. They always beat Everton at Goodison Park. So they've dropped a lot of points in games where they should have won. So I think Klopp announcing him leaving, as a lot of players doubt. I feel that players like Harvey Elliott should be given more minutes because I feel he's the only one that's been trying. Van Dijk is he can't do it all by himself. Konate, what's happened to Konate? He's gone left. Everyone's saying that he's the best French centre back, better than Saliba. I don't know about that now. I'm sorry.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
I don't know about that one at all because one player is on the trajectory, is on the verge of hopefully can win the title. Another one is kind of bottled the title this season where he's just down tools. So Robertson's not been the same player since he's been injured. Alisson has been shaky since he's come back in goal. Conceded a lot of goals recently. I think Kelleher was a better goalkeeper in goal this season. He's made a lot of good saves and done well. Maybe they should have kept him in goal, but obviously Alisson's an experienced goalkeeper. You keep the experienced goalkeeper in goal.
I want to pick up on that. Matthew, what do you think about that point Craig's made about Kelleher being a better goalkeeper this season?
I think what has happened is he's stepped up when he's needed him to as a second keeper. You know, you're playing behind one of the best keepers in the Premier League in the last how many years. He's made his point in like a lot of the games he played in the cup final. And he did really well there, and I think he's just deputized he's just deputized in a very kind of like not privileged, but a very difficult position. Plus with Alisson, he's been shaky lately. Like even Alisson and Edison, I don't know what it is, but they just don't look as like intimidating as they once were a few years ago. Don't get me wrong, they're still good, but they're not the best. They're in the top 10 best keepers in the Premier League, which seems weird because normally you have them in the top 5. So I'm not going to put Kelleher there, but when he stepped in, he's done really well. And you could argue maybe he could have got a little bit more game time because Alisson was, you look at the Klopp signings, he was like one of the first ones that was done. He was like, not one of the first ones, but one of the first ones that signified the change that was coming.
Yeah, he was one of the first ones.
But yeah, I think Kelleher can look at a bit of confidence have been done good. And look, if all push comes to shove, Kelleher could start maybe even at another club.
Ask.
I mean, if I'm those championship clubs coming up, I'm just saying.
It's not a bad goalkeeper to go for.
Or even a Newcastle might need a replacement, or even a West Ham might need a replacement for
Areola.
Fabianski.
I think West Ham might be a better shout. Newcastle,
Ham.
they've got Pope.
Yeah.
He's just injured though.
Dubravka's a really good backup, and I think should have been used more. And then they've got
Newcastle.
third goal.
Karius. That cough, boy.
Okay, so Newcastle could potentially look for getting a new goalkeeper. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Liverpool do. Their next game, it's a very important game for us all, actually. They have Tottenham next at Anfield. Now, as we know, Tottenham get battered everywhere they go, even in their own home. Before we talk about that, this is a massive game coming up at the weekend for both teams. I think for Liverpool, they will want to end the season strong. You know, they are currently third in the table behind Arsenal and Man City. So they'll want to end it well. But the question is, how do you see that game going? I'll start with you, Matthew, and I'll go to you, Craig.
They're at home, right?
It's at Anfield.
It's at Anfield. I think they'll probably win. They'll probably win because, you know, they're playing for pride, and Liverpool prides itself on being sort of a prideful club. And the London derby result, I think, is really going to hurt them because they came in with so much gusto and confidence, think they were going to do something, which, you know, whatever. Plus, with, you know, Villa still remaining quite strong, I don't know. I think that Champions League place might be a little bit out of reach. So I can see Liverpool winning, but it's not going to be like that gung-ho win we're used to seeing. It's going to be a win that's going to cover up the cracks. That's very much showing there.
Greg, how do you see it going?
I feel Tottenham might win, you know. I think Anfield, I know they got to play Chelsea midweek before they got to play Liverpool. I feel like Chelsea will give them a good game. Like, I think they could lose that one, but I thought they'll beat Liverpool because I thought Liverpool will be up for it. I mean, Tottenham will be up for it because they lost against Arsenal, their rivals. They'll be up for it, and they're gonna want to secure top 4, get top 5 this season, because I think someone's right behind. Who's in 6th place? Man United.
Yeah, but they drew again.
Yeah, but Man United, you never know what Man United's gonna turn off anyway. They're very unpredictable. But I feel that for pride, and I think Pochettino would not want to lose 3 games in a row.
Big game, yeah.
He wouldn't want to do that, so he'd want to end the season on a high, and then rebuild for next season if he can. What finances do they have? I don't know what finances they'll have next season, but he's going to want to get into Europe, and what he has to do, we've got to do. But it depends what Liverpool... If Mo Salah's on it and up for that game, you would definitely guarantee Liverpool win the game. But it depends. The Mo Salah we saw on Saturday is sulking and arguing with the manager. We don't know what Mo Salah's going to turn up.
That's so out of character for both of them as well. Like, you never really see that. If that was Pep Guardiola, I'd understand. Like, him arguing with a player pitch side, that's kind of like half of the course. But Klopp doesn't do that.
I don't see Klopp doing that now. I don't see Klopp is very calm and collective. So
Yeah,
it's kind of out of character for Klopp and out of character for Salah as well. Something must have really irked him on Saturday for him to
happened, yeah.
clash with the manager like that.
Maybe it's the fact he didn't start. And
Yeah,
he
he could've
got
been
called to
frustrated,
he got
yeah.
brought on at that point to try and save a game. And it's like, what's the point? But you make a good point about Spurs. Just to say for them, Man United are 6 points behind them as of recording. So even if, you know, it's a lot, that's a big gap to try and turn around. If Tottenham beat Chelsea in midweek, then I think we could say that Man United won't catch them. And then it's just, can Tottenham build some momentum going into Liverpool and then Burnley and then the big one at Man City? Can they do that? And then they end the season at Sheffield United, who are condemned, nothing to play for but pride, and even with pride, it's not been enough for them. So there is still a lot to play for Tottenham, and I think for their own best interest, they might want to figure it out and not care about their North London rivals and feel like throwing away games by playing youth team players against Man City is a worthwhile thing to do. I'm sorry, it will not do you any good. Don't worry about us. Focus on your own future. We're fine. You lot, shambles. Sort it out. Speaking of shambles, we won the league. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of singing today. But anyway, 3-0 at half-time, the North London derby, Arsenal v Spurs. We knew it was going to be a tough game going into it because of the battle we had against Chelsea. I know it was a 5-0 win, but it was still... We had to put a lot of effort and energy into that game. And we saw from the Merseyside derby, you don't want to take anything for granted. And going into that match, we had to be on it. And to be honest, and to give some credit to Tottenham, they were looking a bit sharper. I think a few Arsenal players looked a bit off the pace, a little bit. I think Tottenham definitely did what you would want a team to do in a derby game and put pressure on their rivals, and definitely made for a few nervy moments in the first half. But then we got a corner. And as the stupid idiots booing Bukayo Saka have now learnt, as Omri once said in New York when he was playing over there and fans were booing him after he scored a goal, he said, and I quote, "Boo! Boo more! Boo louder! I can't hear you!" Saka's corner was whipped in and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg scored an amazing own goal. The leap, the power on the header direction. I mean,
It was a good header.
it's almost like he forgot he was playing for Tottenham at that point. Like he always wanted to start North London derby and he definitely achieved his dream. Well done, mate. 1-0 it went. Craig, North London derby, always fun, it was always exciting. How do you feel now? It's all said and done.
I'm still buzzing, but I was nervous the last 2 minutes of extra time and towards the end of the game because it came down to 3-2. On human error from the Ray, he's been good this season, kept clean sheet and in a lot of 6 away games in a row. So for him to make an error like yesterday was maybe he was just bored in goal. He looked very bored.
I think he tried the kind of pass that 7 times out of 10 he'll pull off. 2 times out of 10 he'll never bother trying, and then the 1 time out of 10 he messed up.
Yeah, so he messed up there, and I thought that we did well. Tottenham were playing well in the first couple of minutes of the game. They were dominating. They were getting the ball, and then when we scored the first goal, kind of quiet that noise down. They had an equaliser that was ruled off offside. Van de Ven was ruled off offside.
Yeah.
And then we went up the other end. Madison's a dirty diver, man. Him and that Kulusevski guy.
Kulusevski,
Diving.
themselves, man.
Diving.
Madison's dive was shocking. Kulusevski's one, there was contact, but come
That's
on, mate.
minimum. It wasn't like Trossard kicked him.
Yeah, he wasn't even
Yeah,
looking.
he ran into the leg. That was not a
He
penalty.
wasn't even looking at Trossard. Wasn't even looking. I don't think he probably even know he was there. Sort of thing. Yeah.
And even last night on Match of the Day, they were saying on Match of the Day that it was a penalty. I was looking at it, I was just laughing. Like, what kind of experts are you saying that's a penalty? That's a soft penalty.
He was a Tottenham fan, though, wasn't it, saying that?
Michael also said it. He said it was a penalty. Of course he could say
Of
it was a
course he
penalty.
would.
Yeah.
I think was it Ashley Williams and Jermaine Genius was on last night. I think it
Well,
was.
Jermaine Genius, ex-Spurs. Yeah. Ashley Williams, bitter he didn't join Arsenal.
They're still bitter.
Let's leave that at that.
Yeah. So we scored the second goal. It was a good header from Kai Havertz. No, third goal was Kai Havertz. The second goal was Saka. A wonderful pass from Kai Havertz. A good 60-yard pass, quarterback kind of pass, over the top. Took on Davis, scored a beautiful goal to make it 2-0. Then went and scored the third goal from the corner. Declan Rice and peas, scored the goal.
Right to Havertz's head.
Right at the Havertz's head, silenced that crowd. After that, half time, we went in 3-0 at half time. And then second half, we were doing well. We should have scored more in the second half, killed the game off. I thought if we killed the game off in the second half, we could have taken on players like Odegaard, could have taken off on Partey. But we didn't make a lot of changes in the second half. I think we only made 2 changes, I think it was. Kivior and Martinelli came on.
But we've got a good break between now and the game on Saturday, so I don't mind that happening.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about Havertz. I feel like it's been his week. There's a meme going around on Twitter where people have taken. I think there's a footage from a concert of a rapper who walks out and he's got a mic in his hand. And he's kind of dancing around, and Havertz posted a version where people have been like AI mapping themselves on that person's body. So Havertz uploaded that. It's in the video of him doing that same dance. He posted it himself too. I thought it was just hilarious. But for me, what a great week Kai Havertz has had. He tried in the first half against Chelsea not to score. Believe me, he tried everything possible not to score until he realised where he was. And he was like, I've tried my best. I gave you guys a half of poor finishing. Let me step up a bit. This game, on the other hand, that pass. I remember when Havertz was coming through at Leverkusen. And at the time, a lot of people were saying that, there's this new kid coming on the block. He's like going to be Ozil's replacement in the national team. I'm thinking, that's a high bar to score a player as. And then I saw Havertz and I didn't really see it. I saw that he's left-footed, but I didn't see the Özil in his game. That pass,
Super Bowl worthy.
Mesut would be proud. Because that ball, and then not only the pass, I mean, obviously Saka had his first touch to control that ball with his left foot and put it in his path. Diamond. I think it's something that people overlook because in many games this season where passes like that have come towards Saka and he might have miscontrolled it with his right foot, he might have bounced off him a little bit, but where he controlled it in full flight to keep momentum. And then Ben Davies was a bit too far back. He was on
Davies.
he was on twerk watch. There was too much of a gap between him and Saka. So when Saka cut inside, it wasn't the best touch inside, but the gap between them meant that he had enough time to get his position right and slot it in the bottom corner. But for you, Matthew, having suffered with Havertz, had joy with Havertz, and suffered at his hand this season, how impressed were you with his performance in this game?
Well, the funny thing is, I was watching my brother yesterday, and he was saying that like with this guy, that there's something there with him, like there's kind of some kind of untapped potential that you could yet still reach. Because he said at one point that teams like Real and Bayern are after this kid. And it shows that now, the years he's been in England, he's progressing every single time, especially in this season where he showed a multitude of talents. You still got to work on a few things, but the things that he's good at and the reason why he's clearly in your team, it works. Taking over from, Xhaka, but way more effectively in the same as passing, his shooting, and just how quick he is as well. I mean, you just forget like that. He's very quick. He's very quick. Remember that Champions League goal, just how he beats a defender so easily. I don't think on the trap, he's very, very quick. So, it could be a thing where it turns out could be another De Bruyne Salah situation where we had a diamond of a player and because we didn't unable to unlock his talents, it could be another great player that's not ours. It's got the dangers of looking like that if he unlocks his potential. But it's just, he's crafting his game every single time. He's still a very mysterious player because you don't exactly know where exactly that he plays, but he's got the qualities where it's like you almost can't even coach that. It's almost like it's instinctive, like to hit that pass the way he did. Because all the Spurs players were in the box. You expect them to score. To find that pass is that's Mesut would be proud. Fabregas would have been proud. He would have been very proud of that. So you put that into effect, for your team and, find players that can actually score a goal, it's always going to work. So, he's having a good season. Still will stand by my decision. It was right for him to go because we were squandering him.
And we are grateful that you let him go to us.
So, man, listen, to be brutally honest, even if he was with us now, he wouldn't be the same player. I just genuinely don't think how, with the mess we have right now, I just don't know how more effective he would have been. He clearly thrives on a good environment, a working environment.
Let me throw that at you then. That point you just made, if he was still at Chelsea, what position do you think he would have played? How many matches would he have started, and how many goals would he have scored if he stayed?
Well, right now, if we still had him, Enzo wouldn't be there. He would have had about maybe 10, 15, I'd say about 12 goals, I reckon.
You think he would have got 12 goals at Chelsea this season?
Potentially. Something. If Palmer can get 20, he can get at least 12. It can work.
I don't think he would have gotten 10.
Not 12? It's on the thing.
I think he would have got about 5 or 6.
I feel that with Arteta, he's unlocked something in his potential. He's got better, no disrespect to Chelsea, but he's got better passing. He's got Odegaard. You've got Saka passing the ball to him. You've got Martin. You've got Martin. You've got all these kind of. You've got Partey as well, who's played a couple of games now. You've got all these players who know how to make them passes. They're quick. Chelsea don't really know how to make them quick passes to him. That's why I think he struggled last season. When he won the Champions League, you had them type of players in your team. You had the Mason Mounts. You had the
Werner.
Huh?
Your team of Werner was there as well.
So you had them type of players. The only type of players you had in your team. I think with Havertz, you have to play the ball quick to him, and you have to have players around him. So when he gets the ball, play to his strength. When he like yesterday when he played the ball to Saka, he knew if he has players that he can do that, he can drop off as a number 10, play it across, and then Saka can run and get onto it. At Chelsea last season, Sterling wasn't doing that for him. Them man not really helping him. Mudryk wasn't doing that for him. It came in January, but it wasn't helping him. So at Arsenal, also have them technical players like you got Odegaard, he can play a 1-2 with him, and he can flick it around the corner. He kind of reminds me like. I know this is quite controversial to say, but he could be as good as Van Persie was at Arsenal. He's got the potential to be as good as Van Persie was at Arsenal. When Van Persie first came to Arsenal, he was very raw. Remember when he first came to Arsenal? It was very, very raw. The season when
I remember.
he was very, very raw.
Yeah.
But he learned a lot from Dennis Bergkamp, and Dennis Bergkamp kind of mentored him. And after Bergkamp left and then Henry left, he became the main man. He started scoring goals for fun. I think Havertz next season, if he stayed, yeah, I feel like with more experience and more time in the Arsenal team, with more passes ball to him, he'll definitely get into more goals next season again and assists.
You have to have a better striker though as well. If you have a better striker, even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get why some coaches can say that there's elements of his game that remind her of Robin van Persie, but for me, Van Persie has always been exceptionally technically gifted from way back when, and I think what he could do dribbling wise, Havertz is nowhere near. The other thing Van Persie has always had is his shooting. I remember the goal he scored at the it was either against Villa or Middlesbrough in our last season at Highbury.
05, 06.
Yeah.
Charlton. It was Charlton.
it was
The flying
No,
one.
not that goal. Not that goal. It was at Highbury. He picked up the ball on the right wing near the corner flag. I don't even know how to describe. I guess it was almost like a Cruyff scoop because he'd done that same skill the next season in pre-season against Inter and then put it in the roof of the net in Emirates Cup. But he did a scoop from outside there, left the defender, and I'm thinking, and then he kind of sets himself, and now he's by the byline. I'm like, what is this guy gonna do? He shoots and scores. He shoots and scores from equivalent of where the corner is.
That's against Blackburn.
Blackburn, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Because he lost the defender. And then
He lost Robbie Savage.
That's it. Yeah.
Robbie Savage was trying to mark him, and he did a little.
Yeah, and then
bang,
just drag
goal,
ball, and then just
bent it in
top court. And I'm just like, so I get what you're saying about Havertz and like his, the potential for what he could become, but I've seen all phases of Van Persie. I've seen the scrawny little kid with technical skill and attitude. I've seen he's got a clutch goal in him, but then never staying fit. To wow, we've got prime Van Persie. To that mother. He's at Man United now. And then the World Cup Van Persie. And then, he's now retired. Thank God. I've seen all of that. I don't see that in Havertz.
Look, I remember last season they were comparing them. I think it was in the Champions League. Were you in Europe last season?
Yeah.
I remember there was one game in Europe in the last season, and I think it was either Rio Ferdinand or Van Persie himself said he's got similar potential to Van Persie. I was watching it on.
I think Thierry Henry's the one who said it.
Yeah, one of them said it.
I don't think it's real.
I don't know who his comparison would be, but I just don't think that he's not. He doesn't. They're different. I think they're different kind of players. It's hard to pinpoint someone like Havertz.
Do you know
it's really hard.
The player who he's most like is Thomas Müller.
Yeah,
he's just a more aesthetically, and I'm saying that very loosely. He's probably slightly more aesthetically pleasing and slightly less efficient than Thomas Müller. Thomas Müller is the player. If he can become him, a taller, slightly quicker, more dynamic version of Müller, you've got an amazing player. But that's the player I'd say is most similar to.
That's such a good idea.
Because Müller, you're never really sure what he was. Was he a number 8? Was he a 10? Was he a 9? You never weren't sure. One thing you knew with Müller, he was inevitable.
And he scores goals.
And he scored.
Yeah.
He was always in the right place, right time to get goals.
It's an enigma.
He had so much to his game.
He knows how to score goals.
Balls of the clutch genius was Thomas Müller, and I think that's the player I'd look at and think Havertz is closer to him. He's like very much a discount baby version of Thomas Müller, learning still. With every now and again he might show, because even in that game against Tottenham, Odegaard scooped a wonderful ball over to Havertz, and it was just set for the volley, and Havertz didn't know whether to head it, chest it, or hit it, and he kind of went. And it flashed past me. And he realised I should have gone for the volley. That's why I say I can't call him like Van Persie.
He does that for
because Robin Van Persie, he would have hit it.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't go in, he would have swung his foot.
I feel like at the start of the season, like when he was struggling, a lot of people were saying, "Why did we buy him? To waste the money and this, that, and the other." I thought he's done a 360 in his Arsenal career. I think him and Arteta and the coaching team have done a 360 with him and worked with him. Got a lot of people were saying, why do we waste so much? 65 million, why do we buy a striker? Remember we were talking on the podcast, why do we buy a striker? And then he's turned his game around. So you have to give him credit where credit is due. Got a lot of players would have sunk in under that pressure of that big. He's gone for big money at 2 clubs in England, so he has to be successful, and he's done it.
But I also think that the criticism to Havertz, I think there's sort of like 3 different things at play. I think the first thing is obviously when you look at him from Chelsea and the form he'd shown over the years there, you saw an inconsistent player. So immediately you think, why are Arsenal doing Chelsea another favour? Is he going to be another William Gallas? You can name the players who've bought Willian and the ones who got from you who have flopped. That was the first issue. Second issue is he's been brought in primarily to replace Granit Xhaka. That's what we were told. That's what we believed. And so when you think about what Xhaka was providing last season, Havertz wasn't doing that in the beginning. He wasn't supporting the defence in the same way. He was doing it higher up, not lower back. He wasn't scoring the goals. He wasn't getting in the areas Xhaka was getting. So you kind of feel like we've lost something. And then our progressive passing, he weren't doing that at all. And then the third thing, which I think ties it all together, we changed our way of playing this season. Last year, we were very much like out the blocks, quick, blow teams away, and then settle. This year, it's been control possession, dominate territory. We'll grind them down. We'll get our goals when we get our goals. Because of that change in playing style from Arsenal, a lot of fans took a step back and thought, wait, what's the key common denominator in Arsenal change of play? Ramsdale's been dropped, and Havertz is in. So immediately you think, well, that's the problem. Is Havertz is the issue? No. Partey's been injured for most of the season. We brought Timber in, and he was injured for the majority of the season. So, like, the things we tried to do, we couldn't do them. So we had to adapt. And I think Arteta knew how we burnt out last season by going gun-ho early in the season, had nothing left for the run-in. So he flipped the script. And it took fans a while to get used to, okay, we're playing a slower, more methodical style of football. We are doing death by 80 cuts, not quite 1,000 cuts. Yeah, but we're getting there. And it's going to take a bit of time. And then obviously, we kind of were whimpering through results, and then we had a few bad results. Then we had the December collapse. Then Dubai happened. Then all of a sudden, Arsenal are flying. And so I think with Havertz, a lot of the criticism for him was because of that. Not just because of his own faults and not just because of his Chelsea heritage. And I'm sorry, but like when we buy, for a lot of fans, man, the Chelsea stink is strong. So we didn't want another Chelsea. Willian, man, he stunk out Arsenal. And then look at him at Fulham. Like, we thought he was finished. We thought his legs were gone. We thought he couldn't run anymore. I saw the guy beat a young fullback to the ball. Comfortable. And he couldn't give us that at Arsenal. You see you anyway. That's why. So with Havertz, we thought, it's another Willian. That's what people called him. Another Willian. Maybe another David Luiz, which means he gets some good games, some bad games. I think he's surpassed both of them. I think he's on his way to somewhere else. But anyway, that's how it's gone for him. But, this is a great game for Arsenal. A sad game for Tottenham. I mean, they did well to fight back and get their 2 goals. Some sloppy play from Arsenal to give them some confidence going into their next few games. You're welcome, Spurs. But, as we were saying at the start, North London is and will always be red. And, when you thought there was a power shift, there weren't a power shift. We didn't pay our light bill. All right? That's all it was. We didn't pay our light bill for a couple of years. We got it sorted out now. Josh and Cranky Josh and his dad got the checkbook out, and then we sorted that out. So, as you can see, normal service has resumed.
Lives, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Happy St. Tottenham Day.
That's it, man. Back in your shadow you go. But yeah, I'm really happy for it. I mean, obviously, the big question is going to be the run-in and what more we can do. We've got Bournemouth at the weekend at the Emirates. We're going to be there to watch that game. Nice early kickoff. Hoping for another win. We need to keep the momentum up. I mean, Saka was saying in the the post-match interview, we have to be perfect now. We can't slip up because the machine that is Man City will not stop. And we saw at the weekend they continued their march towards a 4th successive title. And I have to say, Man United fans, Liverpool fans, we can't allow this to happen. We know you guys can't influence us anymore, but it cannot be allowed to happen. 4 years in a row, the Man City winning the league. Nah. But Craig, you have a big bone to pick with Nottingham Forest and their performance.
Yes.
Talk to us. What's going on?
I watched the game for yesterday after the Arsenal game.
I was falling asleep, so I don't remember the game. I was really tired. I had a long week.
Well, I was watching the game. Forest played well. They were defending well. Then Nico Williams got injured. Instead of Forest getting another sub ready to come on the pitch to replace Nico Williams, they gave away a corner. What happens? De Bruyne crosses it. Guess who scores? Guardiola. Where Nico Williams would have stood, Gibbs White missed it, would not have to have marked him, lost his marker, went and scored a goal, 1-0. How many chances did Chris Wood miss yesterday? How many chances did Chris Wood miss yesterday? And when I saw online yesterday, after the game, he had a tweet from 2012 saying City, City, City.
Swear down.
I swear
Agent
down.
Wood. Agent
I saw
Wood.
it. I saw it. I can pull up later on, I'll show you. He had a tweet, 2012, he had City, City, City. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy, you could have scored a hat-trick. You could have kept your team in the league. And look what you're doing. You bottled it. This is what I'm going to say here. I'm going to say this now. I'll keep my peace from this. Teams, when they play against Arsenal, they try their hardest to beat us. When they play against Man City, they go 1-0 down, they give up. I'm sorry, they give up. I'm not lying, they give up.
Some of them bust it open.
Look at Brighton the other day, yeah? Brighton were losing against Man City, they lost 4-0. They gave up. João Pedro should have scored a hat-trick. He missed so many chances in that game. Nottingham Forest yesterday, Chris Wood missed so many chances in that game. Luton, they were unlucky that they're at the home ground. They couldn't do nothing. What else can I say? They couldn't do nothing. But I'm going to get on to you, Chris Wood. How many chances do you need to score? You are a clinical striker who scored so many goals in the Premier League. His goals record in the Premier League is quite
really
good.
good, yeah,
It's very
yeah,
very
impressive.
good, yeah.
And this season he scored a lot of goals. And he didn't do anything yesterday. So if Nottingham Forest get relegated this season, I'm not going to feel sorry for you. I like Nottingham Forest. I like Nottingham Forest. Don't get me wrong. I like Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
But the way how you did yesterday, you let me down, man. You let me down.
One job.
One job. If you got a draw against them last season, and Chris Wood scored. He scored against them last season.
Yeah.
That's why I'm on to him, because he could have scored a hat-trick yesterday. And it would have been a different game.
And Forest owe you from last year because this time last year they beat you to get member title.
That's what I'm saying. Chris Wood.
Was it?
No, it was Away scored the winner.
Away,
yeah. Well, Chris Wood, man, fix up, man, please.
List, bruv. You're on the list.
Oh man, sorry, I'm done.
Well, obviously it's a very emotional title race. You know, we've got a lot riding on it. We want to see our team make it. We want to stop Man City. 115 charges. We're waiting for a date now. Premier League, look, any day now. In fact, you could even wait until the week of Man City's fixture against. They got Spurs on Tuesday the 14th. I'm thinking Monday the 13th. We can announce the charges. I think that's a fair time. You know, that would be a great time. Or you could go Saturday the 11th, or Saturday the 4th, or tomorrow. No pressure, just whenever you're ready. But looking at what they've got left, they've got Wolves on Saturday. Then they have 2 games in quick succession. So they'll have, so Saturday the 4th is Wolves at the Etihad. Then they've got Fulham at Craven Cottage on Saturday the 11th of May. Then followed up by Tuesday the 14th of May, Spurs at the new White Hart Lane. And they end the season at the Etihad against West Ham. Now, West Ham might be on the beach by then, so I don't know. But Matthew, looking at those remaining 4 fixtures, who, if anyone, can stop Pep Guardiola?
I mean, you want to think Spurs because they've done it before, but I've got this. We said it before. Got this horrible feeling they just might not turn up. Might just have the red carpet out there, play a bunch of youngers, and just be like, listen, for the sake of our season, yeah, we will commit friendly fire and spite you lot. Like it's hard to look. The original machine, it's hard to look at where they're gonna drop points. But look, Wolves beat them at home once. It can be done again. And with Wolves they're a funny one. Wolves are funny. You know, Gary O'Neill might have some Weetabix in the morning and do something. So you never know. Just Wolves and Spurs. I think the next 2 games, especially with how they play, I think the next 2 games are crucial. Absolutely crucial.
Fulham could do a job too. But yeah, I think it's gonna be. I'm at the point now where I know someone was saying about this whole title race stuff, like like stop living in hope. It's done. It's Man City's. Look, what's life without hope? Why should I live in despair? My team are so close. And yet you could argue so far because of Man City. We're close. As long as there's matches, as long as there's points, as long as we're ahead of them, I will believe. I will believe. I will believe until I can't believe anymore because it's done. But until that day, I won't stop believing because someone has to. And if I have this level of belief in my team, who knows? Maybe Mario Lemina will have that same belief at Wolves and he might put out another 10 out of 10 performance. Who knows? Wang Hee-chan, when he said, what did he say, the Korean player?
Yeah.
Maybe he might be like, the Korean guy, I got something for you again, Pep, on your head top. Maybe Pedro Neto might return from injury and do a madness. Probably not, but you never know. Maybe Ait Nori might show you why you want to buy him and just draw past whole midfield and bang in a goal top bins. You never know. Maybe Jose Sá remember why he was one of the best rated goalkeepers last season and keep a clean sheet. Because he's been shocking this year. You just never know.
Never know, man.
Totti scored the other day. He might evoke the spirit of Totti from Italy and do it again. You just don't know. So this is football. Man City are an amazing team. They're one of the best teams in the world. But Real Madrid showed us they can be stopped. Arsenal showed they can be stopped. They can be stopped. And they have lost games this season, people. They have lost 3 games. Only 3. But they've drawn 7. So there's something in that. Wolves, pick one. That's all we need. Pick one. You either beat them or you draw to them, but you don't lose to them. Brighton, you should have taken notes. Anyway, Matthew, any hot takes this week?
Ooh. There's Rashford to go to a Premier League rival.
Oh, where would you send him? Because he is up for sale. Sort of. There's been paper talk that Man United are open to entertaining offers for him, which is the same thing, really.
I'll take him.
Can you afford him?
I'll take him.
Get them Modric. Part exchange.
Now, Mudrick can go work in the fish and chips shop for him. Yeah.
or get them Sterling in the part exchange.
I'll come to a point.
Sterling for Rashford.
That's a good deal,
Yeah, but would he go to Man United after being at Man City?
He'll go somewhere that will pay him.
Liverpool, his money bags, man.
Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United. 4 teams stupid enough to pay the money. And who's stupider than who's stupider?
I can't see him go back to Liverpool after what happened when he left Liverpool to go to City. But I can see him going to United.
Listen, if the money's right.
But you know what? If Sterling went to Man United, I could see him bagging and being their top scorer next season.
Take it.
I would even see Hodgson. I think him and Hodgson would work really well together.
I'll run the risk, mate. I'll run the risk.
Wow.
Can't be. We ain't got no striker anyway. Well, not the direct one anyway.
That is a hot take and a half. Man. I'll take it. Sterling to Chelsea. No, sorry. Rashford to Chelsea. Sterling anywhere but Chelsea. We'll see. Be interesting. You were at the women's game. Chelsea in the Champions League, in the UEFA Champions League against Barcelona. Talk us through your experience. How was that like watching them play?
You know what, man? The atmosphere was mad. Like a sellout crowd, all stands full, like 40 and nigh on 40,000 seat. What a great time. That's where the positives kind of ended, yeah, because we weren't. Even with Chelsea suffered 2 stupid decisions on the day, men and women. And the women's one that I saw there was so soft. And this referee for being giving out all these cards, yeah. But it kind of took the thing out of the game and the kind of fight back we had. To be fair, anyone who knows me know I can't stand Barcelona Football Club. I can't get. We got history. We know you got history. We got history, yeah. And we always seem to be on the wrong side, yeah. And you know how I feel about some of their players, yeah. Bunch of but it's like Logan Paul syndrome, yeah, because you can't stand them, but you watch them and you're like, why are you good, man? Why are you good? And they're good. I'll take their hat off. They were playing had some guys behind me saying they play some football, man. But by God, they are scummy, man. They're just disgusting. But to be fair, we weren't at the races. We were not at the races. We didn't really look like we were scoring, and it was just kind of a comedy of errors. But good day out on the end, back at the bridge again. That's 2 games in 2 months. Happy days, man. But I just think referees need to be. I'm not even saying just for the sake of my club. I'm saying for all clubs, they're going to be doing job. Remember, like football's a contact sport, yes. And I'm going to get on to the referee thing.
Let's
like,
go.
The referee thing, I was so angry because it wasn't just the fact that it was a goal. It's just the fact that it's a contact sport. So you're going to have to expect that some players are going to give it a bit. That's what the Premier League is known for the hard play. And if you see when the goal goes in,
just for context, we're talking about the men's game right now, not the women's game.
The
The men's game, the winner, which Disasi scored after some clever play for Badiashile. The referee gave it, and then VAR decided to intervene.
Stupid thing. Officiators, man. Do better, man. Do your job. The technology can't come in and get worse. But apparently it is. But what's annoying is that, like, it's a contact sport. You run the kind of risk where something like that's going to happen. If you watch carefully at both of them, they're both giving their all. Badiashile's giving it. I can't remember who is he going against now, but he was...
Carlos.
Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was... They're both giving, yeah.
Carlos something.
Was it Rogers?
Diego Carlos.
Diego Carlos.
They're both giving. They're both giving as much as they can. It's one of those things that it was the end of the game. The risk is there. They're all going for it. You're going to expect that kind of thing. Maybe it looks a little bit more aggressive than anything. I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's a contact sport, and just to lose it like that is the same way how Coventry would have felt losing it away in the semi-final of the FA Cup. You just lose it to a bloody technicality.
But I have to ask this to you, Craig, on that goal that was disallowed. Do you think that was a clear and obvious error? Because we get been told all season long that VAR will only intervene in situations where it's a clear and obvious error to overturn the situation. And we had one earlier in the season when Jesus gets kicked under his foot.
Against Villa
away.
Yeah.
Nothing doing.
Yeah.
Was it clear and obvious?
No.
And therein lies the problem.
No, it wasn't. I was saying to Matthew, that's why I messaged Matthew. I said that you got cheated by VAR. It was not a foul. The Sassy. But
Badiashile is just stronger than it.
They're stronger than him.
It's just strength, man.
It's like, Matthew, you're a bigger guy than me, and if you muscle him off the ball, it's not a foul.
Hit Jim, bruv.
It's not a foul.
Jim.
I play Saturday football. If a man muscling off the ball, he will say to me, "Go Jim, go lift weights, go Jim." And then up to me, or if I muscle the guy off the ball, the referee ain't gonna give a fuck. I'm muscling the ball. Look at the size of me. Look at the size of him. He's gonna say it's a physical game. I feel the problem with the Premier League now, or with VAR. No, VAR in England is a problem. Every other country that does VAR, there's no issues. International football, when VAR is international football, there's no issues. Only the Premier League's got a problem. The reason why the Premier League's got a problem, because the referees in this country are rubbish. I'm sorry. None of them have the right. They're not good. Then either they're not willing to learn, get trained properly, and do their job properly. That's why Arsenal have been robbed of VAR this season. Loads of games. The Newcastle game. Chelsea got robbed the weekend. It's crazy.
Tottenham Liverpool.
The start of the season, that Liverpool got robbed from that game and Tottenham scored a goal. It was a handball or something like that. So the VAR in this country, the referee in this country needs to improve. And I know that even from grassroots level as well, like the grassroots level of referees coming up now, they're not good. They on Saturday we had a game, the referee was just terrible, shocking. A player had a head injury, Clive. A head injury. When I mean head injury, the blood was coming out of his mouth. And the referee said, play on. And our manager on the side was telling him, referee's got a head injury. And we were screaming at the referee, we were screaming at the other teams to put the ball out.
You need to stop.
They've got to stop the game. In football, if you got a head injury, you have to blow the whistle and stop the game. Because he could either faint or anything could happen on the pitch. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I like referees, like the old school referees, like in Italy, like you had Collina, he was a great referee, he was fair. He wasn't like, a lot of these referees now, they play up to the moment. That's why
they want to be part of it.
They want to be as famous as the football players on the pitch.
Yeah.
They don't want to referee a game. That's the issue. Referees need to be referees and not trying to be famous and make controversial decisions. And then next week on Sky Sports or Talk Sport or whatever, or BBC or Match of the Day, they've been talking about, especially on Sky Sports, every Monday they did the debate with who's that guy I did the debate with? The ex-referee.
David Gallagher, is it?
David Gallagher.
Yeah.
Every week he's saying, look at the controversial episode that happened last week. Do you think that was a red card? Do you think the referee should have done this? And then he has to be explaining himself that, no, the referee made a mistake here, shouldn't have done that. Why don't they stop and do the training over the summer? They got I know they got the Euros, but the referees are not going to Euros. Do training and work on your game, or go watch other leagues or watch the Euros and watch how to do refereeing properly. Because it's not right. Fans pay all their good, hard-earned money every season and watch their team lose a point or lose a decision because of a referee. Coventry the other day won that game against Man United. I'm sorry, Man United fans.
Yeah.
Coventry won that. That was not offside. No. That was not offside. Your toe, he was onside. Man United was so poor that there was a penalty shootout to win the game. Coventry won that game fair and square. Imagine if Coventry got to the final now. I'm not saying they would have won it, but it would have been a good pay. It would have been a good day for the family and friends of the club, and they'll have a good day and have a good day out.
We would be Coventry fans for the day, bro. We would have been Coventry fans.
And because of VAR, it's for it because the corporate people up top want Man United and want Man City to be in the final. They don't want a Coventry in the final. Or yeah,
I don't know about all that.
But you get what I mean in a way.
And the worst thing, because the standard of refereeing at one point in the Premier League was considered one of the best. 20 years ago, it was considered like one of the best.
I think we're one of only a few leagues that actually have a professional body for referees, but he doesn't really show much anymore.
Ah, it means nothing.
Look at the Muppets and what they do. But yeah, it's been tough, but what can we do? There's always next season. Hopefully they'll figure it out. And I think we're finally getting a semi-automatic offside thing, which we should have had this year, but for the fact that the Premier League bosses said no.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
Anyway, we'll be back next week with our next episode. Been very intrigued to see how these midweek games are going to go. We've got Champions League coming up as well this week, so it'll be good to see how Harry Kane does for Bayern against Real Madrid. And then Dortmund, PSG. Will Mbappe get to a final and play against his new employees, allegedly? Will Tottenham, or will we have a repeat? I think it was 2014, wasn't it?
2013.
2013 of Dortmund, Bayern Munich.
At Wembley.
At Wembley.
And Bayern won.
Will Harry Kane get his first ever? Let's not even waste time with that one. Anyway, we're back again for another episode next week. See you all later.
Peace.